Good evening, this is Nerd to Human, and welcome to this air-only Battle Royale in Rome Total War. This time we have a cavalry-only affair with the Roman units taking each other on. For this, we'll be facing the pre- and the post-Marian troops off against each other. We're going to have the Julii with the pre-Marian and SPQR with the post-Marian. Possibly a one-sided affair, but we shall see. We do have a budget of 6,000 denarii, and I picked out units to fill out that budget best I can. As ever, we have ourselves a limit of 2 missile cav. Now, okay, this is likely to be a one-sided affair, but we have already seen some strange results in the earlier rounds of this, particularly for Greek cav seemingly doing very well, mainly because they either have more numbers or a bit of extra experience. They are very cheap, and that does seem to be working, either numbers or a bit of experience or a bit of both. So, okay, one extra unit, but it is Praetorian Cavalry they're up against, and they have a bit of extra attack on them as well. So, yes, 4 Praetorian Cav even, 2 Cavalry Auxilia and a General. The advantage of one extra number here with the Equites, 2 experience, extra sword on them, but the Roman General with 3 experience as well. So maybe experience can help carry the day. Perhaps that tells you something about the meta. If more numbers and more experience can win this, then yeah, certainly will tell us something. But let's head into the battle and let's see how all of this goes. As ever, we are just going to play on medium difficulty, no buffs or debuffs. We are on the South Water map. Let's get into battle.
Portents are bad, my friends, but I do not care. I know that I have brave men at my back, and only the enemy in front of me. There stands the army of the Roman Senate. They are worthy enemies. They have been led here by strutting fools and blustering morons. Now they will pay the price. Today, the carrion birds feast, but they will feast upon our enemies, not on good Roman flesh!
Here we are then on the South Water map. This one's always a fun one, I think. Got ourselves a beautiful little villa here, a bit of farmyards, and they are on a hill, but there are potential downhills to push people on if they want to be sensible about it. Now, this does mean that, the Senate are going to head in with all of their proper cavalry, Praetorian Cavalry. Not sure why I went for Praetorian rather than Legionnaires, but hey-ho, it doesn't really matter. It really shouldn't matter at all. If they're going to split up, that might be the best chance for these pre-Marians to do their job, although it does seem like it's the Cavalry Auxilia coming out here to do this. Cavalry Auxilia v Cavalry Auxilia, they should win, or at least, the Julii should win that, because I believe they have 1 experience over them, and also the Equites are light enough to potentially pin them and cause some chaos. This is one of the few units that doesn't actually change pre-post Marian, so it's an interesting one. They are going to gallop along the front and maybe throw in some javelins as they go. Nothing too much, it's a bit of a skirmish. The longer it takes, though, for the Julii to take advantage of isolated units, the worse off they're going to be. It looks like finally the Julii are actually going to make a move here. One unit, Cavalry Auxilia, are going to do a bit of poking, and this unit's absolutely galloping in. But when the reinforcements have arrived, why would you do it now? Utter numpties, and in come a few javelins. That's 1 dead already, but presumably, they're going to poke these guys out here. Interesting, they should win 1v1. Indeed, they're going to hit them actually, and that might work out well. 3 more were lost in the initial skirmish, but now with the experience and the charge in the back, they should have this. It's actually pretty close, as you might well expect, but there's a rout. First blood, then going to the pre-Marian, but only because they're facing the same unit. Okay, that's of interest, but okay, we actually do have Equites versus Praetorians over here, and they must have got charging because they actually did okay, 44 against the 38, but isolated, not supported. Too late, that support. Don't send them in now, you goddamn fools. Yeah, indeed, they're going to pull out of that. Looks like there's a route for that unit. Is that the one that's way over? Did they get picked off by another unit? I think they did. Okay, well, we've got a bit of a proper affair now. Interesting, Equites charging on into the Roman General, and that's actually this Roman General as well. Now, alright, this guy is definitely much weaker, but he's got 3 experience, and the experience does certainly count for something. In come more charges, these Cavalry Auxilia into the rear, charges are going to be a lot with the cavalry, and I think that might be why we see so many. Ooh, a break from the charge. Yeah, I think that's why we've seen the likes of Thrace pull off seemingly odd victories, because yeah, just having more numbers definitely gives you, wow, that's a good important break, and the general's gone for the post-Marian lads. Well, that could be a big moment there. Unfortunately, that's had a route for the Julii, but hey, it is what it is. The general's in here, and very happily, a bit of support coming in. It might not be enough, but down to 24. Praetorians are being beaten back by experience and potentially the numbers. As I say, numbers does mean that units can do some good flanking. We need to get everyone back in this now. All the ones who've routed, get back into the battle. They've routed. That might have been too late to press that button, Thomas. And I think, unfortunately, Praetorians are going to carry the day, as you would expect. Seems like it's it. Down goes Steve. Down goes Steve. And with that, yeah, he's going to feed the carrion birds. I do think what's happened a few times, just to theorise on some of these earlier battles, is I think some of these units like the Great Cav break so easily that they then end up staying in the battle until quite late on, because they rout. They've run quite far away as cavalry, and then they kind of miss the main affair, and when it comes to the final front, they still have enough left. That's my theory for how some of these strange results have been happening. But, you know, it's just a theory, a game theory, one could say. But, okay, I think this battle's pretty much gone the way you'd expect, but probably for a lot more losses than you might have been expecting. I'm not sure if there's another way of making this work, though, with this amount of budget, to be honest. I reckon we've run this a few times. They might win one, though, so we'll give it another couple goes. We'll speed this one up at this point because, yeah, it's all over at this point. Average defeat, not a bad bit of work, to be fair. Could have gone an awful lot worse. The general there doing a good bit of tactical work, pinning the enemy general, but not enough. Cavalry Auxilia proving themselves to be, well, pretty neutral actually, but as you probably expect. Okay, an interesting one. Maybe an Equites need to pin their Cavalry Auxilia and then use these Cavalry Auxilia more effectively. Perhaps that's the way it's going to be. Into round 2 we go then, and this time just a few small changes. I've changed one of the Praetorian Cavalry over to a Legionnaire. That isn't quite as good, of course, but I have been able to give them a little bit of an extra boost, so because they were a little bit cheaper. So we'll see how that changes things. The other thing I've done is I've taken away one Equite and I've just given more experience to the units instead. See how that goes. Praetorian Cavalry standing around by the Cavalry Auxilia. Going to take the odd hit here, but they don't seem to have actually taken any losses. Nothing else, though. It is leaving them... Oh, dear. Oh, dear. That's fine if these guys come and help, but I'm not sure they're going to do it in time or do it well enough. Yeah, they've broken very quickly indeed. Yeah, a bit of skirmishing might have been alright with them pinned, but no, that's a bad start, isn't it? Okay, General's just standing around like a numpty. Anytime you want to charge into him, just charge everyone into him. Kill one unit anyway. They're the Legionnaires, by the way. Nice long shield. I always like their lovely, lovely hexagonal shields. Gotta love a good hexagon. They are, of course, the bestagon. And I'll be honest, I'm not expecting anything good to happen here because they're not making any tactical, sensible choices. Then their wedge gets slammed in the side. Basically just a huge, huge target to be eliminated. Okay, turns out last time was probably as good as it's going to go for the pre-Marian guys, because that's surely going to be a... I mean, the experience of nothing else means that they managed to hold the charge, but yeah, I think the numbers potentially was doing some good work in the earlier battles. Experience is useful, but not when the numbers are this low, and it's literally just the Roman general fighting after what's been barely a few seconds. So we'll let him go down. Down indeed he goes, and with that, technically not quite the end, because they have rallied themselves, because that's pretty much how these battles go. But yes, indeed, they're just going to run to the edge of the map. But victory and glory is probably not very likely. It took an embarrassingly long time for the end of that battle to actually come. I think they ran the whole way back around the map before they were finally caught, but Captain Lentulus has indeed failed. Only 86 kills this time. Pathetic. And for our third and probably final attempt at this then, we're going to try minimal experience and just mass numbers. This is as much as we could afford, basically. I guess we probably could have afforded one more Equite if I had not spent money on this. I'm not sure that I could, though, to be honest. Now, sheer numbers could potentially do very well, as we discussed. It's worked very well for the likes of Thrace, who, of course, have done some good work by simply having sheer numbers of Greek cavalry. Now, Equites are they better or worse than Greek cav? I don't even know at this point. They're both pretty poor, aren't they? But we'll see. Sheer numbers can do a lot with cavalry because of the charge and because of more units having the chance to recover and thus stay in the fight long enough to actually win. But on a 1v1 rather than a full battle royale, I suppose. It's basically a final of a battle royale on this particular occasion. Yeah, I'm not convinced it's going to be enough, but we shall see. There does seem to be a bit of a charge coming in on this side with the cavalry auxiliary. Are they going to get fully engaged? Because I think you should just charge them with your light equite, to be honest. Looks like cavalry auxiliary are just going to meet each other. They should just be surrounded here. You'd think, yeah, they've broken straight away. Sheer numbers wins the day. Other unit do need to get dealt with as well, and that is both of the cavalry auxiliary mopped up instantaneously, and that's what I said they need to do the first time. Pick them off nice and early, and now, yeah, sheer numbers, you probably can win this battle. They're coming in for the charge, and please tell me that this can work. Speed it up. Let's just start getting into the battle here. Wide lines, okay, that's fine. But you now want to use the wide lines to get the slams in, my good sirs, because okay, the trees might block their charges a little bit. Not the worst thing. Kind of partly why I picked this area, by the way. I thought maybe a little bit of positioning might make this kind of slightly more wonky as a battle and potentially able for these guys to make it work. But they're not using their numbers right now. Charge in, charge in, charge in. There we go. There's the desperate pile-in that you needed to do a little bit earlier. General, get in there. Start making this work. They're not even going to do it this time, are they? Getting over... Well, turns out they're completely useless no matter what you do. The problem is this time, there's a lot of them, but they're not going to hold. They had to all get in at the same time, and they haven't really done that. Yeah, there we are. There's pretty much the full break. We will gather those who have regrouped at the rear, but it's not going to be enough to actually do this, unfortunately. If you're playing this yourself, yes, you totally could win this. I'm sure of that. But yeah, this is all about the AI, and the AI cannot pull it off. No matter what way I organise these armies, the pre-Marian, as it should, gets defeated by the post-Marian every time. But, you know, seeing as we are setting up the different culture factions, this is basically the Roman round. And in the Roman round, as you might well expect, the post-Marian troops are vastly, vastly superior. In case you wanted to see the stats for that battle, there they are, mildly better than the last time, but my original setup did indeed turn out to be the best result. They did manage to get the early pick-off here, but in the end didn't make advantage of their sheer numbers. Obviously, the problem with numbers is, yes, it's a number of units routing if it all goes wrong. Still, we're going to have the mercenaries coming up next, see who will join in. We might have to have a best of the rest because we've had some strange results, and I wouldn't mind giving some of them a second chance. And pretty sure, thinking about it, we might have had Thrace win 2 different sections, which is probably a bit ridiculous. So yes, maybe the runners-up from different cultures can face up against each other. That could be an interesting one indeed. So we have that, and we have mercenaries still to come, but for now I will leave it for today. Thank you for joining me on this AI-only affair. We obviously are having more in the coming weeks, as I just mentioned, so do look out for them, and continue to give me suggestions for your special lineups in the comments below. I have a few very interesting ones in mind. You can, of course, support the channel by becoming a member here or on Patreon by liking and subscribing, and also be getting involved in the comment section. And I hope you will join us next time, but for now, I will leave you. I am Snurd the Human. Thank you, friends, and tally ho. They are just throwing themselves to their deaths. Woohoo! Chunky, chunky, chunky death. Oh, that wasn't a very good charge. Oh, we're flying! There is no one near beside him. Yeah, axe in the head! Axe in the head. Yeah, beautiful.